In 2012, a movie came out that captured the imagination of millions, and I was one of them. It was called The Life of Pi, based on the best-selling novel by Jan Martel. The story follows a young man named Pi Patel who survives 227 days adrift on a lifeboat in the Pacific Ocean after a shipwreck. But Pi isn't alone on the lifeboat. He shares it with a 450-pound Bengal tiger named Richard Parker. Pi and the tiger form an unlikely bond. They depend on each other, and against all odds, Pi survives. At the end of the movie, after Pi has been rescued and is recovering, an official comes to interview him. They want to know what happened to the ship, and so Pi tells them his story. The one we just watched about the tiger and the storm and the incredible journey. The officials don't believe him. They say, come on, a tiger? A lifeboat for 227 days? That's impossible. So Pi asks them, well, what do you want from me? And they reply, we want the truth. Tell us what really happened. And so Pi tells them a second version of the story. This time, there's no tiger. This time, it's just people on the lifeboat. And this version is dark, it's brutal, it involves betrayal and violence, and the officials sit in shock. This version feels horrifying. When Pi finishes, he looks at them and asks a simple question. So, which story do you prefer? The official pauses, and then he says, the one with the tiger. That's the better story. Pi smiles, and then he says the most profound line in the movie. He says, and so it goes with God. Both stories Pi tells lead to the same facts. The ship sank and he survived. But the story you choose to believe about what happened shapes how you interpret everything that follows. Pi's point is simple. The story you choose changes the meaning you see. But here is where the comparison ends, because Pi is using a metaphor. When it comes to your life, the story God tells about you isn't just the more hopeful story. It's the true one. It's the real one. And at the same time, it's the story filled with the most beauty, purpose, and hope.
Are you out of your mind? How could you be this stupid? She's a child.
Sir.
You should know better.
Sir, I did not.
I was just beginning to trust you. Where you come from, is it acceptable for a young woman to be pregnant out of wedlock?
God is my witness.
Huh? Is that it? You call yourself a man of God? Then act like it. You've got two options. You can either take responsibility and marry her, or I'm going to report you to the police.
Sir, you know the truth.
Let's see how many jobs you get with a criminal record.
Every day, we're confronted with competing stories about who we are and why we're here. One story says things like, you are your past mistakes. You're defined by what others think. You have to earn your value, and if you're broken, well, that's all you will ever be. That story feels familiar, but it isn't true. And then there's the story God tells. He says, you were created with intention. You're loved more than you can imagine. Your worth isn't earned. Your past doesn't define you. And if you're broken, you can be restored. One story isn't real. The other story is true. And that's why it brings hope. That's what makes it a better story. And the question is, which story will you believe?
Everyone knows she's fooling around with Donald. I saw them together in the city.
Doing what? Nah, that one first.
Romantic things. You know, like laughing, holding hands.
Better keep that information to yourself.
That's not fair. I know Jose would never do anything like this.
I've seen that man work 12-hour shifts for pennies and never complain. He prays before meals, fixes stuff others break, and they'll kick him out. Wait till they see what they do to you. Bite your tongue.
You really think God's watching all this?
Oh, he's watching all right.
I don't know. Feels wrong, you know? Kind of like putting good hay on bad hay.
Best we can do right now is to stay quiet. No doubt he's watching though.
Some of us have grown up hearing that people can't change. You are who you are, and once you're an addict, you're always going to be an addict. As an adult, you may still believe that's true. This narrative says that your identity is pretty much locked in. You are the sum of your mistakes and your failures, and sure, you can try to improve. You can go to therapy, read self-help books, but deep down, you still seem the same messed up person you have always been, and you can't seem to escape the cycle. One way we try to fix this is by following the advice that we can either just embrace who we are and own it, or try to reinvent ourselves in some way. But here's the problem with that advice. Sometimes we feel trapped in patterns because we can't just seem to break free of them. And that can be very frustrating, especially if the person you've been isn't the person you want to be. Self-improvement can only take you so far, because at the end of the day, you're still trying to fix yourself with broken tools. The story Jesus is writing for you offers something different. It doesn't just offer self-improvement. It offers complete restoration, complete transformation. Because Jesus doesn't say, yeah, just try harder. He says, let me make you new. And we see this over and over again in the Bible, stories of broken people who meet Jesus and were changed. And many times it was after just the first encounter. One example of this is a man named Zacchaeus. Luke chapter 19 starts telling us his story this way. It says, Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he had become very rich. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road, for Jesus was going to pass that way. Now, Zacchaeus wasn't just any tax collector. He was the chief tax collector. This means he was at the top of a system that exploited his own people. Tax collectors in that culture worked for the Roman Empire, the enemy. They were seen as traitors. They were despised. And Zacchaeus wasn't just a tax collector. It says he was a very wealthy tax collector, which meant he'd been skimming a little extra off the top for himself from every citizen. Everyone knew who Zacchaeus was, and everyone hated him. But something inside him was restless. He'd heard about Jesus. And when he heard Jesus was passing through his town, he just had to see him. He was so desperate, he climbed a tree. Can you imagine a wealthy man climbing a tree like a kid just to catch a glimpse of Jesus walking by? And then it says, when Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. Jesus didn't wait for Zacchaeus to clean up his life first. He didn't say, well, just go home, work on yourself for a few years, and then we'll talk. He called him by name. He invited himself into Zacchaeus' home, into his life. And Zacchaeus, for the first time in who knows how long, felt seen, felt accepted, felt loved. And that caused a transformation in his life. The story continues. It says, meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord, and if I have cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. Jesus responded, salvation has come to this home today, for this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save those who are lost. Did you catch that? Zacchaeus' transformation happened after his first encounter with Jesus. And he didn't change because Jesus gave him a sermon. He didn't change because Jesus laid out a 12-step program. He changed because of an encounter with Jesus. He felt pure love, maybe for the first time in his life. And his transformation was immediate. One of my favorite lines from the book, The Desire of Ages, says, only by love is love awakened. And when Zacchaeus came in contact with the love of Jesus, he went from taking from his fellow citizens to giving back. He went from being a thief to wanting to make things right again. It's like his entire identity shifted, and it wasn't because he tried harder, but because Jesus called him by name. This is what the biblical story offers. It's not a quick fix. It's something deeper. It's a new beginning. Paul wrote this in 2 Corinthians 5:17. This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. The old life is gone. A new life has begun.
My apologies for bringing you in the middle of this, Alice.
It's okay. Well, she said it was consensual, and she is confused. She swore he had feelings for her.
Unbelievable. I gave that guy a roof over his head, a job. I took him in when no one else would. And that's the thanks I get.
She's not a minor, Pierre. She can make her own decisions.
Not a minor. That's it. God only knows how long he's been grooming her. You think these people change overnight?
These people?
You know what I mean. Crime is in their blood. It's cultural, passed down.
Careful, Pierre.
Churchill was right. Some races are meant to lead. Others...
You done?
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
When the kid is born, we'll see what the paternity test says.
I'm not ready to be a mom.
Oh dear. Nobody really is.
I thought he'd stand by me, but he... What have I done? Now I'm worried that I'll have to do this all on my own.
Nobody does anything alone, dear. God's always in your corner.
Well, I'm not exactly the Virgin Mary.
Sweetheart, you're still God's daughter, and your baby is God's son too. But you cannot build something beautiful on a lie.
When you meet Jesus, your old life, the one you thought could never change, is gone. Not under construction, gone. Like as in finished, done. Zacchaeus didn't have to create a new version of himself. He simply discovered who God always said he was. A son of the King, a child of God, someone worth fighting for. And Jesus offers you the same. Not religion or a list of rules to follow, not shame or guilt to motivate you. He offers you a new beginning. Jesus said, if the Son sets you free, you are truly free. You can be free from your past free from your shame, your guilt, and your addictions that have maybe plagued you for generations. What the world offers can only take you so far, but Jesus offers to change your life. This is his better story for you. Why not discover it today?
Mrs. Ellis, I did not even touch the girl. I did nothing to her. Like, I swear.
It doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is what people choose to believe.
People. So you mean Pierre?
Pierre is running for city council this year, and this situation is not doing him any favors. With the current turmoil on immigration, he's not looking to be an immigration backer.
Okay, but I did not do anything wrong. I worked. I prayed. I stayed out of trouble. What else can a man do?
Sometimes doing everything right still costs you. Look, you can go along and marry her, or you can do what's right and face the consequences.
So either way, I pay a price.
It's a tough decision. Do what lets you sleep at night with God. I've seen the kind of lemonade he makes with your lemons. Look, I gotta go. Okay? Just keep in touch.
Mrs. Ellis. Ma'am. Do you remember Mr. Murdoch? He's a dairy farmer down by the river.
Right, Reuben Murdoch. He moved up north after losing his son.
Yes, ma'am. I used to work for him, and I reached out a while ago on account of some work records. Anyways, I spoke to him a few weeks ago about Jose. He might have a job going, but he needs someone to vouch for him. Besides me, of course.
Yeah. Reuben, he must have a few years under his belt by now.
Very old, but he's still kicking. He runs a maple syrup farm up north, and he's looking for someone to take charge.
I'm sure to give him a call. Have a good one, Marcel.
You as well, ma'am.
Over the last 4 episodes, we've been on a journey together. And I'd like to take a moment to remind you of where we've been, because it's all been leading to this moment. In episode 1, we talked about how we all live inside stories that shape how we see ourselves and the world. We explored why the Bible can be trusted as a coherent historical narrative and how it offers a radically different story about who you are and why you exist. In episode 2, we looked at why the world feels so broken. We explored the great battle between good and evil going on right now. We saw that the pain and suffering we experience isn't random chaos, it's evidence of a deeper conflict. But the good news is that God has a plan to make all things right one day soon. And then in episode 3, we discovered that Jesus stepped into our broken world and died on the cross to rescue you and me, not because we earned it, but because he loves us. He looked at us and said, "You're worth it." The cross proves that love isn't something you earn, it's something you just simply receive. And today, in episode 4, we're discovering that Jesus offers you transformation, a new purpose, a new story. This is the grand narrative of Scripture. And here's the beautiful part. You get to be a part of that story right now, today.
I messed up really bad. I was freaking out, and Jose would make a better father. Donald wouldn't. I thought he liked me. I was desperate, and I love Jose, and it just hurts.
It'll be Donald's words against Jose.
It's the truth.
I can't let Jose stay. It's too much damage to to the farm's reputation.
I can't let him take the blame.
You need to go too. I'll give you the money my wife left you. It's a start.
But
We'll cover your tuition so you can use your money with your baby. You're smart. You'll figure it out. Believe me, you and your child will be better off without my son.
Willie grew up in the ghetto, surrounded by gang life, violence, and just surviving. One night at a party, there was a confrontation and there was a stabbing. Willie and his friends were arrested and faced very serious charges. His life was over, but then something unexpected happened. You see, the father of the boy who was killed, Manny, came forward and told the authorities, "I'm not pressing charges." Willie couldn't believe it. He was getting a second chance. Freedom he didn't deserve, grace he couldn't earn. And then the father looked at him in the parking lot in front of the courthouse and asked him one question. He asked, "What are you going to do with the freedom I just gave you?" That question changed Willie's life. He gave his life to Jesus, he became a preacher, and now he shares the good news in the same neighborhoods where he once lived in darkness. He tells people about the God who gave him a new beginning. Today, Jesus is asking you the same question. He's already paid the price for your freedom. He's already given you a new beginning at the cross. So, what are you going to do with the freedom he gave you? Jesus is inviting you to discover the story he's writing for your life. A story that's true. One that says you are a loved child of God and your life matters. You are free from your past and you can have hope because your story doesn't end in despair, but restoration. Compare that with other stories which can lead to emptiness, competition, shame, and hopelessness. And so, which story do you prefer?
Oh, maple syrup, huh? Better shovel horse biscuits and poke holes in trees all day.
There's a good joke. You see, you don't need to put anyone down for a good laugh, Marcel.
Still not right, man. You don't deserve this.
Life isn't fair. But God is.
Guess that's your chariot.
I guess so.
Hey, could you give this to Mr. Murdoch when you see him? For me, please. He'll know what it's about.
Will do.
Don't just stand there, man. Come here.
Thank you, man.
It's time for a better story.
I hope so. Keep your head up and your knees down, right?
Which story do you prefer? The story you're in right now, or the story Jesus is writing for you. If you're ready to accept the story Jesus is writing for your life, you can just simply pray this in your heart right now. Jesus, I choose your story. I receive your freedom. Make me new. In Jesus' name, amen. If that's something you've done today, please let me know by sending me a message. Also, if you want to explore this topic further, we've created an interactive guide to help you. Just follow the link in this video. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey. And I'll leave you with this. Mark Twain once said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why." If I were to add a third, I would say the third most important day in your life is the day you embrace the story Jesus is writing for your life. This is your opportunity for a new beginning. I invite you to discover a better story.
A better story. Jesus is my peace.
Some of the most compelling stories aren't found in books or movies. They're actually lived out by people in your community, Canadians who have faced the same struggles you have. Hope Channel Canada exists to share the good news that Jesus is inviting them into a better story. But we can't do this alone. And that's why I'm asking you to become an agent of hope. When you become an agent of hope, you're helping us reach people with the life-changing message of hope that there is a better story for them. We need your prayers. We need you to share this content with your friends, and we need your financial support. Visit the link on your screen to partner with Hope Channel Canada and the mission of spreading hope across Canada. God bless, and thank you for your support.